What's up, people? I'm not getting paid for this, by the way, but you're watching SBTV. Where's my money, man? Where's my money? Give me my money.
What's up? It's SBTV. I'm Yasmin, and I'm in the lovely house of the legend, Trevor Nelson.
It's a house. It's a flat.
It's
It's a house flat. Yeah. Thanks. It's nice. I like it. I like it. It's a basement.
A basement.
It's hidden. It's hidden away. You'd never know where I am ever. You'd never believe. You wouldn't think it was like this, would you? Just a little door.
We are in the midst of God knows how many records.
Actually, yeah.
Have you counted them?
No, I've got rid of a lot.
Really?
I've got rid of a few thousand actually.
What was the first record you ever bought?
First record I really, if I'm going to be honest, was by a guy called Jar Stitch.
Okay.
Called Righteous Man. It was a 7-inch reggae record. I wasn't even into it. I just wanted to buy a record. So I bought it. I went into the local reggae shop and bought it for 79 pence, I think it was. And I just walked away saying I bought a record, you know. The first album I bought was Roy Ayers' album called Running Away, Lifeline. And I got home, that was 99 pence. I got home and I was so excited. And I opened it and it had some country and western album in it. Ran back to the shop, that was the last copy, so I swapped it for Earth, Wind and Fire's Greatest Hits.
That's supposed to
I remember it all, right? Yeah, I remember all of it.
So when was the day that you thought, you know what, music, this is it, this is what my life is going to be?
Do you know, I didn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a funny career in that I've never said I want to be a DJ or on radio. I just fell into it. I was a mad record collector. I just used to buy records. Everybody in my family thought I was crazy. I used to keep buying records. And you know, didn't eat school dinner. That's why I was skinny. Just spent the school dinner money on records. Walked to school. Spent the bus fare on records. I remember buying records somewhere that was 10 miles walk from my house. I wanted a record, and didn't have enough bus fare left. If I bought the record, I'd have had no bus fare to get home. And I walked home. It took me 3 hours, but I had the record. I even went out with a girl who had a record that I never had because I saw her walking in college with the record under her arm.
No way.
I went out with her for 6 years.
Does she know this?
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
Of course, I was following her around going, damn, you got the new... She was like, yeah. But no, to be honest, I just did pirate radio, and I was very, just like you guys are doing your thing now. Some people might think of it as a joke, but if you take it very seriously and you think it's, you know, like you're interviewing me right now, you in your head could be like, well, you're just doing an interview with, I could be anybody, you know, anybody. I could be someone incredibly A-list. If you take that attitude, that's how I took my pirate radio show. I took it so seriously when a lot of people were joking that maybe people saw in me that I was very dedicated. And I just think after 5 years of messing about on pirate radio doing clubs, I started earning more money than my daytime job, and that's when and then Kiss got a license, and that's when I thought, gosh, I'm a DJ, you know, because I wasn't officially a DJ. I was working every day, getting paid, paying my national insurance, and that was it. It was about 1990.
So was it like a conscious decision to become a presenter, or just kind of you fell into it through the music? And
the presenting. I never went to school for presenting or DJing. I never had one lesson on how to present, interview, anything. I think that, you know, which is good. I mean, I'm jealous that I didn't go to photography school, media studies. I didn't have any of that, but I did it all through just my own gut instinct, and I fell into it. And you know, there's a group of guys. Remember, there's 30 DJs on the station on Kiss Pirate. So when you get chosen to do stuff, it's important that people say that they think you're good at something, rather than you go. I mean, it's fine to have ambition and go, I want to be this. I think that's great, but sometimes it's even nicer if someone says, you know what, you're really good at that. You should do that. And I was one of those people, a bit insecure. I wanted people to continually tell me that, so that I was sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm very much like that myself. So you must have lost count of how many interviews you've done over the years.
I've done a few.
A few.
Done a few.
But if you could pick one, the biggest one.
I would say my favourite interview was a documentary I did for BBC on Mary J. Blige. It was like a whole hour long. It was my own production company made it, and I went to America, spent a week with her on tour, went to her mum's house, had dinner with her family, you know, her aunties, and you know, it was deep, you know, it was really, and we were sitting on a bed, she was kicked her shoes off, telling me about the abuse she had with KC and jealousy, he hit her. She never said this before in public, and she was really comfortable, and I love her, you know what I mean, like properly. After that week with her, I just love her, you know what I mean. I wouldn't have anyone say bad word, because sometimes with most artists you get detached, you know. I have a detachment. I don't, you know, artists, it's easy to be their friend. They come to England and I want to hook up with Trevor. But I'm not like that. I'm like, on the camera, yeah, you know. But when they make a bad record, you're not going to play it, are you? I'm not going to play it because will.i.am phoned me and said, yo, Trev, play my bad record that no one's playing because you're my friend. I can't be like that. So my thing is keep it professional. But Mary J. Blige always had a really hard life, and she's finally happy, and it was nice at that point to interview. She got rid of her drug demons. So she, for me, I wouldn't necessarily say it's my best. It's the one I like the most.
Yeah,
you know.
It means the most.
Yeah, definitely.
And what about the worst?
The worst is easy. Method Man and Redman. And I like Method Man and Redman. Yeah, I love them. But on MTV, you're not allowed to smoke. And I've gone in to interview them, and they're both sitting on a sofa, smoking a big fat joint. Yeah. And you can't tell them not to put it out. They ain't listening to nobody, right? Or the interview's done. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay. So Method Man, blah 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 blah. You got a new album. He's like passing it behind his back to Redman while he's blowing it out and then answering my question. Meanwhile, Redman's puffing it, and then I turn to Redman. He's exhaling, passing it back to me. It was like ridiculous. But then the thing is, their album was brand new, and I said, yeah, I like it. And I had about half an hour to listen to the album, so I quickly listened to it. I thought, yeah, it sounds alright. And then Method Man just came out with, because he could see everyone was going, what are they doing? And he said, what's your favourite track on the album? And I didn't even have one yet, and he just got me. And so I hated that. I hated getting got. So I went, whatever.
Has there been those moments when you've had to completely wing it, like you just?
I would say 70% of all the interviews I've ever done, I've winged it. No questions, no nothing. They're the best interviews.
Yeah.
Because if you have a piece of paper in front of you and you're doing an interview and you have it all worked out and you're reading questions, I don't really like that. Like, you're talking to me, I like that. I don't like interviews where someone goes, right, okay, so when did you start your career? And then you say an answer and it's conversational, but then they go, what's your favourite colour? But why don't you comment on my answer, you know, let's go back and forth, you know. So, yeah, I mean, I wing a lot of stuff. It's funnier, it's funnier, it's funnier. And the artists like it more because they feel you know, they're having a conversation, they feel more relaxed, they don't think you've got some horrible question waiting to ask them, you know, because that's what they care about.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they want to sell a record. Some of them want to bear their soul, but most of them want to sell a record. And if the least you know about their music, the more awkward the question might be, you know. But I was always about promoting black music, so I never went out to get. I could have got so many people, man. But there's no point. There was only 1 or 2 black music shows on telly. I didn't want to be putting down the music, you know. There's enough people ready to do that.
And what about if you could interview? I'm sure you've interviewed so many people, but anyone in the world, dead or alive.
There's 2 people that I've never interviewed that I wanted to interview. One is Prince, and I did get the chance to interview Prince, but at the time he was being a bitch. He was like, you know, he was just down on everything. It was quite a while ago. He was hating all the new musicians. He had nothing positive to say. He was having turmoil with his record label, and I didn't want to sit there and be part of that. I wanted to talk about the celebration of his work and stuff, you know. So I just kind of missed out on that. And the other one was Michael Jackson. And the problem with Michael Jackson is I had a chance to meet him, but I didn't want to be, how can I put it? I've got kids, you know, and there's an issue there, and it was for his children's foundation, and he'd just come out of the court, and I just wasn't comfortable hosting that. But I don't think I would have got to interview him, but I would have met him properly because I've never met him. But you know, if I could ask him anything I wanted to ask him, that's a great interview. I just don't like the fact that if you did get an interview with him, you'd be told you can't do this. But you see, that's the problem with interviews. You know, I've done, I had an interview with, I've met Jennifer Lopez many times and interviewed her loads of times, but there's one time when she was going to Ben Affleck, and I flew to New York to interview her, and there were a few journalists from all over the world, and when I got there, the German journalists, 2 of them had been kicked out. They didn't last 3 minutes. They flew all the way to New York and they sent them packing, right? Her entourage sent them packing because they talked about Ben Affleck. And I sat there and said, whatever you do, don't talk about Ben Affleck. Don't talk about Ben. Don't talk about Ben. And then the manager came up and said, oh, I'm glad you're here. She likes you. You're not going to talk about Ben. I said, don't talk about Ben. Someone said, yeah, everybody was, don't talk about Ben. Ben was in the bloody video, right? So why, you know, if you don't want to talk about Ben, she wrote a song about Ben on the album.
Exactly.
So I went in there and I was just laughing and joking with her, and I just said, yeah, Ben's in the video. I thought he was going to start rapping. And she started laughing, you know?
But I bet everyone behind the camera.
They were nervous, but she started laughing, you know, and that was that. It's like sometimes the entourage are worse than the artist, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you sometimes have to think about where you can draw the line, break the ice a bit, because you know people at home want you to talk about Ben.
Yeah.
So you just drop it that way and leave it. You know, you don't have to go deeper, because then she'd be pissed off. So,
Yeah.
you know, but there's always, everybody you interview's always got something precious, don't go there. And sometimes they don't tell you, but you know not to go there. Every time I've interviewed P. Diddy, there's always something going on in his life that, in a sense, you look at him and you go, I know you don't want me to go there. You know what I mean, about something. Well, yeah. You know, the Shine thing, the this thing, the that thing. There was so many different. Every time the J-Lo thing, you know, there's always an issue. Like it started off with the East Coast, West Coast thing. It was oversensitive, obviously, because Biggie died. And then there's always, every time you see the guy, there's something else going on.
And you were one of the people that broadcasted from MJ's memorial service.
Yeah.
What was that? I mean, what was MJ like? What did Michael Jackson mean to you?
That
Obviously
was,
growing up in music.
I'll be honest with you, that was the hardest thing I've ever done in broadcasting, ever. Like, the day he died, I was upstairs in bed, and by the way, I know this interview's going to last an hour, right? It's cool, it's a good interview. Right? I was in bed, and my mate phoned me up and said, put the news on, put the news on. I said, why? And he wouldn't tell me. He just said, put the news on, you ain't gonna believe this. And I thought it was one of my kids or something. I was like, what's on the news? Like, why are you phoning me? Like, you're scaring me, you know what I mean? Put the news on, and as soon as I saw it, I just put the phone down. I didn't even say goodbye to him. I put the phone on. I went, what? Because he wasn't dead. He was, rumours he's going to kind of rush to the hospital. There's also things flying around. Then they pronounced him dead. Literally as they pronounced him dead, it was 11 o'clock or something, our time, around that time. My phone rang, it was Radio London. They wanted me to talk to somebody on radio. I said, okay. I was in shock a bit, you know. And then Radio 5 Live phoned me, wanted to talk to me on air, immediate reactions, that kind of thing. I'm like, everyone's phoning me, what's going on? Then in the morning I got up, I thought, how are we going to talk about this on my show, on the breakfast show? And then Chris Miles, my boss said, you just go on a Chris Miles' show, talk about it. Not sure Chris can handle that properly, you know what I mean? So I went on Chris Miles. As soon as I finished my breakfast show, came out. You know, it was weird because I didn't really have a chance to think about what had happened, because this woman standing there, Sky News want to talk to you, BBC News, World Service want to talk to you, 5 News, ITV, everyone wanted to talk. I'm like, why does everyone want to talk to me? Fair enough, I'm not a member of Michael Jackson's fan club. But it all dawned on me that they wanted to talk to a black person who's into music about Michael Jackson, because it's really weird. For me, it was like, it just rammed home the fact he was just a black kid once, you know what I mean, before this whole freak show started. And it was quite weird talking about someone who I grew up with, because he was the first idol I had. You know, I had this poster on the wall, the whole Jackson 5. This first, you know, when I was a little black kid growing up, it was like there was no icons, role models in music really, apart from Jackson 5. And yeah, I went to Ibiza that night, thank God I did, because I had to get out of the country. It was getting really weird. Anyway, the night before the memorial, BBC weren't sure they were going to film it, put it out. And they didn't make their mind up till 12 hours before. Wow. So I get a call the day before and said, would you host a memorial? I said, well, what do you mean by host? We're not quite sure, they're saying. We're not, because they didn't have all the information. I said, am I on camera? What am I doing? We're not sure.